Dr. Han Tawan stared at his computer screen in disbelief. The energy readings from Earth's core made no sense. He had checked the numbers 3 times already, but they still showed the same strange pattern. "This can't be right," he muttered, running his hand through his messy black hair. The International Deep Earth Research Facility was quiet at this late hour, with only the soft hum of computers filling the air. He reached for his phone and called the one person he trusted to verify these findings. "Jia, can you come to the lab? I need your eyes on something." Dr. Kim Jia arrived 15 minutes later, still wearing her coat from the cold night outside. Her quick steps echoed through the empty hallway as she approached Taiwan's desk. "What's so important that it couldn't wait until morning?" she asked, but her annoyance faded when she saw the concern on her colleague's face. "Look at these readings," Taiwan said, pointing to the screen. "The energy signature from the core. It's not random. There's a pattern." Jaya leaned closer, her eyes widening as she studied the data. "This looks like... but that's impossible." She quickly sat down at the next computer and began typing rapidly. "Run it through the fusion reactor comparison," Taiwan suggested, already knowing what she was thinking. The next few minutes passed in tense silence as Jaya's computer processed the data. When the results appeared, both scientists sat back in their chairs, stunned. "The pattern matches a controlled fusion reaction," Jaya whispered. "Not just any fusion reaction. This is more advanced than anything we've ever built." Taiwan nodded slowly. "The core isn't just hot metal. It's a machine. A reactor." "But who built it? When?" Jaya asked, her voice shaking slightly. "The Earth is over 4 billion years old." Before Taiwan could answer, his computer screen flickered. New data began streaming across it. Data that wasn't coming from their sensors. Strange symbols appeared, then transformed into readable text. "Attention! Primary core maintenance alert," Taiwan read aloud. "Reactor stability at 89.3% and declining. Caretaker species status. Maturity assessment in progress." "Caretaker species." Jaya's voice was barely a whisper. "Does it mean us?" Taiwan quickly saved everything to a secure drive. "We need to call Director Park. Now." The facility burst into activity within an hour. Scientists and researchers filled the main lab, all staring at the mounting evidence that Earth's core was actually an ancient fusion reactor. Director Park stood at the front of the room, his usual calm demeanor shaken. "Dr. Han, Dr. Kim, please explain what you found." Taiwan stepped forward, showing the energy pattern on the main screen. "The core's energy signature matches that of a controlled fusion reaction, but it's far more advanced than anything humans have developed. The reactor appears to be maintaining Earth's magnetic field and thermal balance. And now it's sending us messages," someone asked from the back of the room. "Yes," Jaya answered. "The system seems to be awakening. We think it's responding to our recent deep core scanning projects." More text appeared on the main screen. "Notice. Primary interface initiated. Preparing for caretaker species contact." The room fell silent as everyone realized what this meant. Humanity wasn't just living on a planet. They were living on top of the most advanced piece of technology ever discovered. "There's more," Taiwan said quietly. "Based on these readings, the reactor is showing signs of requiring maintenance. After 4.5 billion years, something needs to be fixed." Director Park's phone rang, breaking the tense silence. After a brief conversation, he addressed the room. "The President is calling an emergency meeting. Similar messages are appearing at research facilities around the world." As the scientists began discussing their next steps, Taiwan noticed something strange on his screen. The symbols were changing again, but this time they were forming into a different pattern. "Jaya," he called out. "Look at this." The pattern was becoming clearer. It was a countdown. Time until full interface, 72 hours. Humanity had 3 days to prepare for whatever came next. 3 days to accept that everything they knew about their planet, and possibly their own existence, was about to change forever. Taiwan looked at Jaya, seeing his own mix of fear and excitement reflected in her eyes. They had just made the biggest discovery in human history, and somehow they knew this was only the beginning. The world's leading scientists gathered in Seoul's largest conference center. 3 days had passed since Dr. Han Taiwan's discovery. The countdown was about to end. Taiwan sat in the front row next to Jaya, both watching the large screen that showed the reactor's readings. Military personnel lined the walls, and world leaders joined through video calls. 1 minute remaining, announced Director Park from the podium. The room grew quiet. Taiwan could hear his own heart beating. Jia gripped the armrest of her chair tightly. The countdown reached 0. At first, nothing happened. Then the lights flickered. A soft blue glow filled the center of the stage. It grew brighter, taking shape until it formed a human figure. A man stood before them, his appearance clearly Korean but his clothes unlike anything they had seen before. He smiled warmly at the stunned audience. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Lee Do-hyun, representative of the Stellar Watchers." His voice was gentle but carried throughout the room. "We have been waiting a long time for this moment." Director Park stepped forward. Who are you exactly?" "We are the engineers who built Earth's core reactor," Do-hyun explained. "What you see is a projection created to make you comfortable. I have chosen this form to honor the nation that made the discovery." Taiwan raised his hand slowly. Do-hyun nodded at him to speak. "The reactor, did you build it 4.5 billion years ago?" "Yes. Earth was one of our earliest experiments in planetary engineering. We created the reactor to power your world, to give life a chance to grow." Do-hyun's image walked among them, though his feet never quite touched the floor. "But why reveal yourselves now?" Jaya asked. "Because the reactor needs maintenance." Do-hyun's expression grew serious. "And because humanity has finally reached the level of understanding needed to help maintain it." Gasps filled the room. "Us?" someone asked. "Maintain a reactor that advanced." "You were always meant to." Do-hyun smiled again. "Why do you think humans evolved to be so curious about how things work? Why do you think you developed such advanced problem-solving skills?" He waved his hand, and a 3D model of Earth appeared beside him. "The reactor isn't just providing heat and magnetic protection. It has been guiding your evolution, preparing humanity for this role." "The messages we received," Taiwan said suddenly. "They mentioned a caretaker species." "Exactly," Do-hyun nodded. "Humanity is the caretaker species of Earth. Other worlds have their own caretakers, evolved to maintain their specific reactors." A military general stepped forward. "How do we know we can trust you?" "A fair question," Do-hyun replied. "Which is why we will share our knowledge gradually. Your scientists can verify everything we tell you. We have nothing to hide." He turned to address everyone. "The reactor has served Earth well, but after billions of years, it needs attention. We could fix it ourselves, but that would defeat the purpose. This is humanity's test, your chance to prove you're ready for your true role in the universe." "What happens if we fail?" Jaya asked quietly. "We won't let Earth be destroyed," Do-hyun assured her, "but humanity's chance to join the galactic community would be delayed. You would remain isolated until you're ready." He looked at his hands, which had started to fade slightly. "Our time grows short. I will return tomorrow with technical data. Study it carefully. Humanity's future depends on understanding what lies beneath your feet." "Wait," Taiwan called out. "One last question. Why did you build the reactor in the first place?" Do-hyun's image was almost transparent now, but his smile remained clear. "Because every species deserves a chance to reach the stars. Earth is not just your home. It's your first test as a spacefaring civilization. Take care of your world, and you'll be ready to help build new ones." With those words, he vanished. The room erupted in excited discussion. Scientists pulled out tablets to analyze new data that had appeared on their screens. Military officers huddled in corners, speaking in hushed tones. Taiwan looked at Jia. Did that really just happen? She nodded, still staring at where Du Hyun had stood. We're not just studying the planet anymore. We're learning how to maintain it. Director Park called for quiet. Everyone, get some rest. Tomorrow, we begin learning how our world really works. As people filed out of the room, Taiwan stayed in his seat, thinking about Du Hyun's words. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for millions of years, without even knowing it. Now they had to prove they were ready for the responsibility. The real work was about to begin. 2 weeks had passed since Lee Do-hyun's appearance. The International Deep Earth Research Facility was now the busiest place on Earth. Scientists from every country worked day and night, studying the reactor's data. Taiwan rubbed his tired eyes. He hadn't slept properly in days. The numbers on his screen were getting worse. Everyone, come quickly. Jaya's voice rang through the lab. The reactor's output is dropping. Scientists rushed to her station. The main screen showed a red warning signal. The reactor's power levels were falling faster than expected. Director Park called an emergency meeting. As people filled the conference room, the familiar blue light appeared. Lee Do-hyun's figure formed, but this time he wasn't smiling. We have a problem, Do-hyun said. The reactor's core is becoming unstable. It's happening much faster than we predicted. A young quantum engineer named Park Sun-mai raised her hand. She had joined the team last week. What exactly will happen if the reactor fails? Earth's magnetic field will collapse, Do-hyun explained. Without it, solar radiation will destroy your atmosphere. All life on Earth would end within months. The room fell silent. Taiwan felt his stomach turn cold. How long do we have? Director Park asked. At the current rate, 3 months at most. Do-hyun's image flickered. We need to start repairs immediately. Sun-mai stood up. She was usually quiet, but now her voice was strong. I think I know how we can fix it. Everyone turned to look at her. Even Do-hyun seemed interested. The data shows that humans can withstand the core's radiation better than any other species, she said. I believe we evolved this way for a reason. We don't need to send machines to fix the reactor. We need to send people. That's crazy, someone shouted. No one could survive those conditions. Actually, Do-hyun said slowly, she's right. The reactor's radiation is unique. Over millions of years, it changed human DNA to make you resistant to it. You are the only beings who can safely enter the core chambers. Sun-mai pulled up her calculations on the main screen. We can build a special vehicle to take us down. The reactor's maintenance tunnels are still there, just like Do-hyun showed us. We can reach the core and fix it. But we've never done anything like this before, Jaya said. How can we be sure it will work? Because we have to try. Taiwan stood up. This is what we were made for. The Stellar Watchers created the reactor, but they made us to maintain it. Do-hyun nodded. Dr. Han is correct. This is your moment. The Stellar Watchers will guide you, but you must do the actual work. Director Park took charge. How many people do we need? A small team, Sun-mai answered. 5 or 6 at most. Any more would be too risky. I volunteer, Taiwan said immediately. Me too, Jaya joined him. Sun-mai nodded. I'll need to go to operate the quantum systems. Do-hyun's image started to fade. Remember, you won't be alone. The reactor systems will recognize you as the caretaker species. It will help you as much as it can. After he disappeared, Director Park looked at the volunteers. You have 3 days to pick the rest of your team. After that, we start preparing for the descent. As people left the room, Taiwan stayed behind with Jaya and Sun-mai. They looked at each other, knowing they were about to attempt something no human had ever done. Are you scared? Jaya asked quietly. Yes, Taiwan admitted. But I'm also excited. Our whole species has been preparing for this moment without knowing it. Sunma smiled slightly. Think about it. We're not just trying to save Earth. We're proving humanity is ready for its real purpose. Through the window, they could see the sun setting. Somewhere far below their feet, the ancient reactor that made all life possible was waiting for them. Soon, they would journey to the center of their world to save it. The crisis had begun, but so had humanity's chance to prove itself worthy of its inheritance. Secretary General Yoon Henul stood before the United Nations. Her face showed on screens worldwide as she made the most important announcement in human history. People of Earth, she began, our planet needs us. The core reactor that has kept us alive for billions of years is failing. But we are not helpless. We were made for this moment. Around the world, people watched and listened. In homes, offices, and public squares, billions held their breath. Today, we start Project Core Guardian. Every nation will work together. We will share all our resources and knowledge. The world's best scientists and engineers are already preparing for the mission to save Earth. At the Deep Earth Research Facility, Taiwan watched the speech with his team. They had chosen 2 more members, Choi Min-ho, a quantum mechanics expert, and Kang Yunji, a brilliant geologist. The mission team will reach the reactor through ancient maintenance tunnels. Haenul continued. These brave volunteers will risk everything to save our world. Min-ho looked at his teammates. No pressure, right? He joked, trying to lighten the mood. Yunji was studying the tunnel maps they had received. These passages are incredible. They're like veins running through the earth. The blue glow appeared again, and Lee Do-hyun materialized. The tunnels were built to last forever, he explained. They're made of materials your science hasn't discovered yet. How did humans develop radiation resistance? Sunma asked. She had been wondering this for days. The reactor released specific radiation patterns over millions of years, Do-hyun said. It shaped your evolution. Each generation became a little more resistant. Now you can safely enter areas that would kill any other species. Reactor Park entered the room with new equipment. The first drilling machine is ready. We need to test it. They moved to the testing chamber. The machine looked like a giant metal worm, smooth and silver. Its front had a special drill made with diamonds and new metals the stellar watchers had taught them to make. This will take us through the Earth's crust, Sunma explained. It uses quantum fields to protect us from the heat and pressure. Taiwan touched the machine's cool surface. How long until we reach the core? 7 days of drilling, Jaya answered. Then we find the main maintenance door. News teams filmed the machine from behind safety glass. The whole world was watching their preparation. People sent messages of support from every country. Look at this, Min-ho showed them his phone. Children had drawn pictures of their team as superheroes. Schools were teaching students about the reactor and what it meant for humanity. The world is united like never before, Haenul said, entering the facility. Every country is sharing their best technology and brightest minds. Do-hyun's image smiled. This is another test, not just of your technical skills, but of your ability to work together as a species. Yunji looked up from her maps. These tunnels, they form a pattern, like a giant computer circuit through the earth. Yes, Do-hyun nodded. The reactor is more than just a power source. It's the brain of your planet. And you are its chosen caretakers. The team spent the next hours testing their equipment. Their special suits were ready, designed to protect them from the extreme conditions they would face. 2 days until launch. Reactor Park announced, "Get some rest. You'll need it." That night, Taiwan stood outside, looking at the stars. Jia joined him. "What do you think we'll find down there?" she asked. "The truth about our world," he replied, "and maybe about ourselves too." Inside, Min-ho and Sunma checked the machine one last time. Yunji memorized every detail of the tunnel maps. They all knew that in 2 days, they would begin the most important journey in human history. The world waited and hoped, united in a way it had never been before. Humanity had spent millions of years evolving for this task without knowing it. Now, they had to prove they were ready. Their time had come. The ground shook as the drilling machine came to life. Tai-1 checked everyone's safety harnesses one last time. Inside the machine's control room, 5 brave humans prepared to make history. All systems ready, Sun Mei called from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. Tunnel path confirmed, Yunji added, watching her maps carefully. Director Park's voice came through their radio. You are clear for launch. Good luck, Team Core Guardian. The machine's drill began to spin. With a deep rumble, they started moving down. First slowly, then faster as they cut through the Earth's outer crust. First layer reached, Minho reported. Quantum fields are holding steady. Jaya watched the depth meter. 1 kilometer down. Only 6,370 to go. The first day passed smoothly. They took turns sleeping in the small rest area while others monitored the systems. The machine worked perfectly, cutting through rock like it was butter. On the second day, they hit their first challenge. Underground lake ahead, Yunji warned. The radar showed a huge water pocket. Activating water displacement shields, Sun Mei said calmly. The machine glowed blue as it pushed the water aside, creating a safe tunnel through the lake. The stellar watchers thought of everything, Tai-1 said, amazed at how easily they passed through. By the 4th day, the heat outside their machine was incredible. Without the quantum shields, they would have melted instantly. The pressure was enough to crush a normal submarine flat. Look, Jaya pointed to their screens. Something artificial. They all gathered to look. The sensors showed a perfect metal circle in the rock wall ahead. It was one of the ancient maintenance tunnels. Preparing to dock, Minho announced. He carefully guided their machine toward the tunnel entrance. With a soft click, they connected to the ancient door. Everyone held their breath as Sun Mei sent the access signal they had learned from Du-Yun. The door opened smoothly, as if it had been waiting for them. It's beautiful, Yunji whispered. The tunnel was made of a silver metal that seemed to glow from within. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing with soft blue light. The tunnel was huge, big enough for their machine to enter easily. These marks, Tai-1 studied them. They're like the ones we saw in the first message. They're reactor status updates, Sun Mei explained. The walls are actually computer screens. They've been running for billions of years. They followed the tunnel down. More passages joined it, like branches of a giant tree reaching through Earth. Their machine's wheels rolled smoothly on the ancient track. Energy readings are getting stronger, Jaya reported. The reactor's core must be close. Suddenly, their radio crackled. Lee Do-hyun's voice came through clearly, despite them being thousands of kilometers underground. You're doing well, he said, but be prepared. The next part will be the hardest. What do you mean? Tai-1 asked. You're about to enter the main reactor chamber. No one except the original builders has ever seen it. The radiation levels will be very high. But we can handle it, right? Minho asked. That's why we evolved radiation resistance. Yes, but it will still be uncomfortable. Your suits will help, but you'll feel the reactor's power. Don't worry, it's recognizing you as the caretaker species. They turned a final corner, and everyone gasped. Through their machine's front window, they saw it, the reactor's outer chamber. It was enormous, stretching farther than their legs could reach. In the center, a column of pure energy reached up and down, disappearing into the distance. This was Earth's heart, the power source that had given their planet life. We made it, Jaya said softly. No, Tai-1 corrected her. We've just reached the beginning. Now we have to fix it. The team looked at each other, knowing the real challenge was about to start. They had reached the center of their world, but their mission was far from over. The reactor was waiting for them. The team stood at the entrance of the reactor's main chamber. They had left their drilling machine in a safe dock and now wore their protective suits. "Remember," Sun Mai said, checking everyone's suit monitors, "if your radiation badge turns red, return to the machine immediately." They walked through the ancient doorway. The chamber was bigger than anything they had ever seen. The walls curved up into darkness, covered in glowing symbols and pulsing lines of energy. "Look at these markings." Yunji touched one of the walls. The symbols changed color under her hand. "They're responding to us." Minho scanned the walls with his quantum reader. "These aren't just decorations. The whole chamber is one giant computer. And there's something else." Before he could explain, Lee Do-hyun appeared. His blue form looked more solid here, deep in the reactor's heart. "You've discovered one of the reactor's biggest secrets," he said. "Earth isn't just a single planet with a power source. It's part of something much larger." Taiwan stepped forward. "What do you mean?" Do-hyun waved his hand. The chamber walls became transparent, showing a map of the galaxy. Hundreds of stars lit up with the same blue glow as Earth's reactor. "Each of these is another engineered planet," Do-hyun explained. "Each has its own reactor, its own caretaker species. You're part of a network that spans the galaxy." Jaya looked amazed. "All these worlds, they're like Earth. Similar, but each is unique. Each reactor is designed differently, and each species evolved to care for their specific world." The team walked deeper into the chamber. They reached a platform overlooking the central energy column. Its light was almost too bright to look at. "Why didn't you tell us this before?" Taiwan asked. "You needed to prove yourselves first," Do-hyun said. "By reaching this chamber, you showed you were ready for the truth. Your evolution wasn't random. We guided it, helping you become the perfect caretakers for this specific reactor." Sun Mi studied the control panels near the platform. "These systems, they're not just maintaining Earth's core. They're communicating with other reactors." "Yes," Do-hyun nodded. "Earth helps power the network that connects all engineered planets. Without it, the network would weaken. That's another reason why we need to fix it." Suddenly, the energy column flickered. The chamber shook slightly. "The reactor's getting more unstable," Minho warned. "We need to start repairs soon." "Wait," Yunji called out. She had found a new set of symbols. "These show the reactor's history. It's been running since before life began on Earth. But look, it's not just providing power. It's been teaching us." Do-hyun smiled. "The reactor helped shape human development. It guided your science, your understanding of the universe. Every major breakthrough in human history was partly influenced by subtle signals from the reactor." "So nothing we achieved was really ours?" Taiwan asked, sounding disappointed. "No, you misunderstand," Do-hyun said kindly. "The reactor only offered guidance. Every discovery, every invention, every step forward, those came from human creativity and determination. We gave you a teacher, but you were excellent students." Another shake ran through the chamber, stronger this time. "The power levels are dropping faster," Sun Mi reported. "We have maybe 2 days before permanent damage occurs." "Then it's time," Do-hyun said. "You've seen the truth about your world and your place in the galaxy. Now you must prove you can protect it." The team gathered around the main control area. Years of training, millions of years of evolution, and the hopes of their entire species had led to this moment. "One more thing," Do-hyun added. "When you fix the reactor, you'll gain access to its full database. The knowledge of thousands of worlds will be yours." The chamber shook again. Warning lights flashed on the ancient walls. Earth's heart was failing, and only humans could save it. The real work was about to begin. Red warning lights flashed across the reactor chamber. The energy column's bright blue glow had turned pale and unstable. "Power levels at 43% and falling," Minho called out. His voice was tense as he read the ancient gauges. Sun Mi worked quickly at the main control panel. "The reactor's core is losing containment. We need to stabilize it now." Taiwan and Jaya moved to help her, but stopped when they noticed something strange. The control panels were changing, becoming simpler, easier to understand. The reactor is adapting to us, Yunji realized. It's changing its controls to match human technology. Do-hyun appeared beside them. Yes, the reactor recognizes you as its new caretakers. It's trying to help. Suddenly, Sunmi gasped. When she touched a control panel, it lit up differently. Strange symbols flowed up her suit's arms, and her eyes glowed slightly blue. Sunmi. Taiwan reached for her, but Do-hyun stopped him. Wait, he said. This is supposed to happen. The reactor is connecting with her mind. Sunmi's voice was calm, but filled with wonder. I can see it all. The reactor isn't just a machine. It's alive, in its own way. And it's been waiting for us. The chamber shook again. Parts of the energy column were starting to flicker out. Power at 39%. Minho warned. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast. Sunmi turned to her teammates. Everyone, put your hands on the control panels. The reactor needs all of us. One by one, they touched the glowing panels. The same strange symbols crawled up their suits, and their eyes began to glow blue. Taiwan felt it first, a vast consciousness, ancient and powerful, touching his mind. He could sense the reactor systems, its power flows, its problems. It's incredible, Jaya whispered. I can feel Earth's magnetic field. I can see how the reactor powers it. Focus everyone. Sunmi commanded. She had somehow taken charge naturally, understanding the reactor systems better than anyone. We need to redirect power to the failing sections. They worked together, their minds linked through the reactor systems. Yunji guided power through the backup channels she had discovered. Minho used his quantum knowledge to stabilize the fusion reactions. Jaya balanced the energy flows while Taiwan strengthened the containment fields. Power at 41%, 45%, 52%. Minho called out the readings. Do-hyun watched silently as the humans worked. They moved like they had been doing this for years, not minutes. Warning, the reactor systems spoke directly into their minds. Core temperature critical, cooling systems failing. There, Sunmi pointed to a set of controls. The main cooling pump is damaged. We need to bypass it. Taiwan saw the problem through the reactor sensors. If we reroute power from the secondary systems. No, Jaya interrupted. That would weaken the containment field. But look, there's an emergency cooling system. It's never been used. Because it needs direct mental control, Sunmi realized. It needs a conscious mind to regulate it perfectly. That's why the reactor needed humans. Together, they activated the emergency cooling system. Through their mental link, they could control the cooling flow with perfect precision. The chamber stopped shaking. The energy column's glow strengthened, returning to its bright blue color. Power levels rising. Minho reported happily. 65%, 78%, 89%, stabilizing at 95%. The team let out a cheer. Even Do-hyun was smiling broadly. You've done more than fix the reactor, he said. You've proven that humans truly are Earth's perfect caretakers. No other species could have done what you just did. Sunmi was still connected to the main systems. The reactor, it's happy. I can feel it. It's been waiting so long for minds that could understand it, work with it. Look, Yunji pointed to the walls. New symbols were appearing, spreading across every surface. The reactor's full database, Do-hyun explained. All of its knowledge is now open to humanity. You've earned it. The team stood together, their eyes still glowing blue, connected to the living heart of their world. They had not just saved Earth, they had awakened its true power and discovered humanity's real purpose. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. They were its guardians, its caretakers, its partners. And this was just the beginning. 1 month after the reactor repair, the Deep Earth Research Facility had changed completely. The walls now showed the same glowing symbols as the reactor chamber. Scientists from around the world worked at new stations, studying the incredible knowledge they had received. Taiwan sat at his desk, his eyes glowing faintly blue as he read through the reactor's database. Like the other team members, his connection to the reactor had become permanent. "Look at this," Jaya called from her station. "I found plans for building new reactors. We can help create other engineered planets." Sun Mi nodded, not looking up from her own work. "The Stellar Watchers left us everything. All their knowledge, all their technology. They trusted us to use it wisely." The blue glow appeared, and Li Do-hyun materialized. This time, he wasn't alone. 3 other figures appeared with him, each looking like they came from different worlds. "Meet some of your neighbors," Do-hyun said with a smile. "Representatives from other engineered planets in our network." The team gathered around. Even Director Park came to welcome the visitors. "We have watched your progress," one of the aliens said, their form shifting like water. "You completed the reactor repair faster than any other species in the network's history, and your mental connection to the reactor is exceptionally strong," another added, their crystalline body catching the light. Minho looked at the visitors with curiosity. "Are your worlds very different from Earth?" "Each world is unique," the third visitor explained, their gas-like bodies swirling gently. "Each reactor is designed differently, but we are all connected through the network." "Speaking of connections," Do-hyun said, "it's time for Earth to join the Galactic Council. Your seat has been waiting for billions of years." Eun-ji, who had been studying the reactor's communication systems, looked up excitedly. "The Council? You mean we can talk to all the other worlds?" "Not just talk," Do-hyun smiled. "You can work with them, share knowledge, help maintain the network. Earth is no longer alone in the universe." Secretary General Hae-Newell, who had just arrived, stepped forward. "What happens now?" "Now," Do-hyun said, "humanity begins its real work. You're not just Earth's caretakers anymore. You're part of the team that maintains the galaxy itself." The visitors nodded in agreement. "Your world has already started sending power to help other reactors," the crystalline being said. "Your reactor is one of the strongest in the network. And your understanding of the technology is impressive." The water-like being added. "We look forward to learning from you, as you learn from us." Taiwan touched one of the glowing walls. Through his connection, he could feel Earth's reactor working perfectly, its power flowing not just through their planet, but reaching out to help others. "We have a surprise for you," Do-hyun announced. He waved his hand, and a new set of plans appeared on the main screen. "Is that?" Sun Mi's eyes widened. "Yes, plans for your first space reactor. When you're ready, humanity will help build new engineered planets. You'll help give other species the same chance you had." The team looked at each other, amazed. They had started this journey trying to save their world. Now they were going to help create new ones. "Before we go," Do-hyun said, "remember this. You were never just an experiment. The Stellar Watchers chose Earth for a reason. We saw your potential, your creativity, your determination. You've proven we chose well." The visitors began to fade. "Welcome to the galaxy, Earth," they said together. "We have much work to do." After they disappeared, the team stood quietly, thinking about everything that had changed. Their world wasn't just a planet anymore. It was a key part of a galaxy-wide network of living reactors and conscious species. "Well," Taiwan said finally, "we should get back to work. Those new planets won't build themselves." As they returned to their stations, the reactor hummed beneath their feet, its power flowing strong and steady. Humanity had found its true purpose, and their greatest adventure was just beginning. They were no longer just humans on Earth. They were caretakers of the galaxy, builders of worlds, partners in the greatest engineering project in history. Evolution was complete. The real work was about to start.